Welcome everyone that's coming in or watching us, whether you're watching live or watching the recording. We're glad that you are here. Welcome. Today we're going to be going over an overview of guidance for the safe and effective use of artificial intelligence in California public schools. We'll go ahead and get started. We are here representing the California Department of Education, and I want to give a special shout out and thank you to our State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurmond, who supports us in this work. So I also want to give a shout out and thank you to our information technology branch here at California Department of Education that has worked to make sure that this guidance is ready for all of you. So first want to thank Mary Nicely, who is our Deputy Superintendent of Public Instruction, Jeff Bello, Education Administrator. My name is Catherine Goyette. I am the Computer Science Coordinator. We have Christina Mattis, our Educational Technology and Broadband Coordinator, Elizabeth Wisnia, our Education Program Consultant, and Sherilyn Emezqua, who's an Associate Governmental Program Analyst. Glad that we have all of these great people that have supported this work. Wonderful team. So I want to let you know that this guidance is coming to us thanks to a public schools AI working group. You'll see on the map there that there are several counties across the state that are represented in the AI working group. They helped to develop this guidance, really was a foundation for this work. Many of them are on the call, and we thank you so much for your presence. They volunteered their time because they feel committed about making sure that we have safe and effective AI in our schools. There was representation from a great many types of educators and others. We have representation from elementary, middle school, high school, TK-8, charter schools, UCs, CSU, and community college, adult education, CFT, AFT, CTA, and CSBA, local education agencies, county offices of education, nonprofit, and private sector. And we also have several content and specialty areas that are represented as well, including artificial intelligence, computer science, CTE, ELD, newcomer, and LTEL, EdTech, English language arts, mathematics, multiple subject educators, performing arts, science, special education, teacher education, and world languages. So again, want to give a special thank you to all of those that have helped develop this guidance through that AI working group. So want to also let you know that all of this work is thanks to Senate Bill 1288, which was authored by Senator Becker and co-sponsored by our State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurmond. And in that legislation, there are requirements of what this AI guidance will include. And also there's a definition of AI. So to ground ourselves in what that definition is, the definition according to that Senate bill is the following. Artificial intelligence means an engineered or machine-based system that varies in its level of autonomy and that can, for explicit or implicit objectives, infer from the input it receives how to generate outputs that can influence physical or virtual environments. That is the definition of AI that is used in this guidance. So what is the timeline for the public schools AI working group and what will be coming out and has come out as a result of this AI working group? So firstly, on or before January 1st, 2026, the working group was called upon to develop guidance for local education agencies and charter schools on the safe use of artificial intelligence in education. That guidance has been released, and there will be an overview of that guidance today in this webinar. I want to let you know, exciting news, that there is more to come. So, on or before July 1st, 2026, the working group is to develop a model policy for local educational agencies and charter schools regarding the safe and effective use of artificial intelligence in ways that benefit and do not negatively impact pupils and educators. I would like to let you know that our AI guidance is available at www.cde.ca.gov backslash CI backslash PL backslash AI in California.asp. You can also find this by typing in artificial intelligence on the search of our CDE homepage. And you'll see here an image, which is a screenshot of that page that I just referred to. You'll notice that there are tabs here on this screenshot, and the tabs are where you will go to find different categories of the guidance. I'm going to give you an overview of what is included in this guidance and to let you know what might be the most appropriate place for you to go to when you are looking at the guidance. So again, there are different tabs, and those are the overall categories that are found in the guidance. There is an introduction. There is a section on human-centered AI, a section on AI literacy, another on equitable access, another on academic integrity, another section on data privacy, and finally, an appendix. And again, these are available on those tabs that are on that website where the guidance is located. So what is in the introduction? So the introduction covers two subcategories, subtopics, if you will. The first is what is artificial intelligence, and the second is types of AI. So if you look at this screenshot taken from the what is AI section, you'll notice something that the working group was very passionate about making sure was included. And that is a table that talks about not only types of AI, including generative AI, agentic AI, and autonomous AI, and general AI, but also provides definitions and examples of current uses in education, as well as examples of potential future uses in education. So the working group felt it was very important to ground the guidance in these definitions, not only the definitions of AI, but also in the types of AI that are utilized or may be utilized in schools in the future. So the next section within the guidance is human-centered AI. And I want to let everyone know that very clear in the working group, as well as in Senate Bill 1288, in that language, it's very important that we emphasize the fact that AI is meant to be an enhancer and not a substitute for human relationships and for educators. And when this guidance mentions educators, as you will see in the glossary in the appendix, educators refers not merely to teachers, it also refers to classified staff, to administrative staff, to all of those that are working with students. Within that human-centered AI section, there is AI as an enhancer, not a substitute. There is another subtopic that is entitled Supporting Student Well-Being. This section really delves into what it looks like to make sure that we are maintaining human relationships between our teachers and our students amongst themselves, and that we make sure that AI has an appropriate place in our schools. You'll also notice a subtopic named Cognitive and Developmental Considerations. Another subtopic, risks of human replacement AI. So we want to be very careful to be aware of the risks so that we do not have humans replaced by AI. And finally, there is a subtopic entitled Designing Flexible Human-Centered Systems. Again, this is all within that overall category of human-centered AI. So what you'll notice within the human-centered AI section and within many other sections of the AI is that there are guiding questions for LEAs. And I want to give a thank you to our working group for coming up with several of these questions and for making sure that this guidance has these guiding questions so that it is helpful for our local education agencies. Just an example of some of the guiding questions that are in the guidance In this particular section, one of the questions in relation to our human-centered AI is how will we safeguard and elevate teacher expertise, ensuring that professional judgment remains the cornerstone of AI-supported instruction and assessment. So again, very important that our LEAs, our local education agencies, are considering ways to make sure that that educator professional judgment is key. One portion of the guidance that I am very pleased to talk about is the AI literacy section. This category was one that we had a great amount of input from the AI working group. And what I would love to point out is that this was developed in line with Assembly Bill 2876 by Assemblymember Berman that calls for the Instructional Quality Commission to recommend considering AI literacy integration into future curriculum frameworks. The definition of AI literacy within that legislation is the same definition that was used by the working group in this particular section of the guidance to ensure that there is alignment and consistency as we move forward. So the subtopics for this particular section for AI literacy, the first is AI literacy for students. What's really exciting is there are grade spans and grade level examples of what AI literacy might look like for our students. The working group wanted to make sure that this was a teacher-friendly document that educators are able to see examples of what this looks like in classrooms. If you are an educator in the classroom, or perhaps a teacher coach or an administrator that's looking for what AI literacy looks like instructionally, this is a great category to check out. A secondary subtopic within AI literacy is AI literacy for educators and school communities. It was great to see that the working group wanted to make sure that AI literacy was not merely a focus for students, but also for educators and for the communities that our schools serve. There is certainly woven throughout this guidance some insurance that we make sure that we consider our families and our communities moving forward. So another subtopic within AI literacy is frameworks and guidelines for AI consideration. What's exciting about this is it includes curriculum standards alignment. And this is in alignment with the definition of AI literacy that again is from Assembly Bill 2876, which includes how AI works and ethical considerations. So AI literacy does include, according to that definition and in this guidance, both how AI works and those ethical considerations. Another subtopic within AI literacy is our pedagogical implications. So if you are wondering, what does this look like in regards to how we teach, in regards to what instruction looks like when we're considering AI, that would be a great subtopic to check out. There's also another subtopic called AI literacy integration. And finally, there is one called the 5 Big Ideas of AI. And the 5 big ideas of AI are a great place to go if you're looking for that next level, that deeper level of understanding of AI literacy. So to give you an example of what AI literacy for students includes, I'm pleased to show you that there is a screenshot here of a table that shows various grade spans and what this might look like in the classroom. So we have TK to 2, grades 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 10, and 11 to 12. There's a focus and learning goal for each of these grade levels. There is a sample activity, and there are evaluation questions. Again, it was very important to the working group to make sure that there were examples of what this actually looks like in classrooms. And so, very pleased that this is part of that guidance. And I would encourage you to check that out if you are working in the classroom with students. You'll also notice that in the AI literacy for educators and school communities section, there is a another table, and this one talks about what it might look like to train educators and school communities in AI literacy based on where they are. If are they at a basic level, an intermediate, or an advanced? And within that, they talk about the audience or audiences that might be considered, learning objectives, and again, sample activities. I spoke a bit earlier about AI curriculum standards alignment, and I just want to preview the fact that there are standards aligned examples for every single grade level in regards to AI literacy. Each has the grade level, a focused learning goal, a sample activity, and a guiding question. And again, this particular section, the exciting part is it is aligned to other content area standards. What this is providing the message of is that AI literacy is meant to be integrated into what is already being taught. It is not asked to be an additional or separate part of the day. It is something that can be integrated. And that is something that the working group really wanted to make sure was clear. And so providing these examples is a great way to make sure that this is an educator-friendly document. You'll notice that pedagogical implications is another portion of the AI literacy section, and I'm going to pass it over to our broadband coordinator, Christina Mattis, to talk a little bit about pedagogical implications in regards to AI.
Thank you. And so to continue on from the AI curriculum standards alignment, as Kat mentioned, we did include a section on pedagogical implications when incorporating elements of AI. In the AI guidance, you will find reference to the TPAC framework for a robust instruction and learning experience. TPAC here refers to pedagogical content knowledge. The tech knowledge can be built as students learn about AI, whereas the content knowledge can take place as students learn with AI. And then the pedagogical knowledge can be exhibited as students learn through meaningful, relevant AI experiences. We encourage educators to bring in elements from each of these sections from the TPAC framework to elevate the student learning experience when it comes to learning about and with AI. Next slide, please. The other piece within the AI guidance was to ensure that we maintained access and information to equitable access to AI when it comes to teaching and learning. And so under this particular section, you will find 4 different categories or subtopics. The first topic is special education and accessibility. We are mindful that there are elements that we need to preserve when we work with students within these categories. The other subcategory and subtopic pertains to digital equity and closing the digital divide. We want to make sure that each and every student within our state has access to AI when it is relevant and appropriate in those safe ways and safe environments. To that, we want to make sure that our learners are empowered. And so the next subtopic pertains to empower learners to design systems to solve problems. This includes elements of preserving the critical thinking components and application to real-world experiences. The final subtopic within this particular section pertains to expanding access to STEM pathways and careers. And so, as Kat mentioned earlier, making sure that there is that through line and connection to CTE, for instance, as an example. Next slide, please. And so, to further ground us in what it means to have equitable access to AI in teaching and learning, the definition that level sets us is that AI technologies, tools, and applications can enhance many aspects of equitable teaching and learning when applied thoughtfully. Educators can use AI to adapt lessons, model prompt design, and engage in peer-led professional learning that strengthens practice while prioritizing equity. Thank you, and I will pass it back to Kat.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Christina. So, one of the categories that was called for in Senate Bill 1288 and was also very important to our working group, which was composed of many educators that are in the classroom, is academic integrity and responsible use. The subtopics there include academic integrity in the age of AI, responsible use rubrics, and unacceptable use of AI in academic settings. This is a great category to go to if you are working with educators if you are working with students in the classroom, or if you are an administrator who is considering what are acceptable and unacceptable uses of AI in academic settings. For example, there is a table in that subtopic with the unacceptable use of AI in academic setting that shows unacceptable uses as well as examples. What I also love about this subtopic is that there are rubrics for responsible use. These are extremely helpful for educators that are trying to help students understand when they can or perhaps when they cannot utilize AI in particular assignments. For this next portion, which is a great section for our administrators and our IT professionals and our CTOs, I'm going to pass this to Elizabeth Wisnia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Kat. So, as we have all learned, sometimes in a hard way, over the last few years, that technology has been a bigger and bigger part of our lives, there really needs to be a lot of thought about the data privacy implications for anyone who's going to use a technology tool. And so, a big component of the guidance is understanding how the products that are used will be student-centered and will focus on protecting them while they are using the product, making sure that parents and guardians are given adequate information about which tools are in use and what data are being submitted to a particular tool for an educational purpose. There's also guidance on how parents can access educational records, including any educational records that are created with AI. And there's also some local education agency action steps, um, including guidance on how to go about procurement and governance of the tools that they select for use in their schools. Next slide. And so there are guiding questions for LEAs. So it's really thinking thoroughly about, is it appropriate to be using this tool? Um, what is the functional evaluation of each tool? Making sure that the company that's going to be hosting the AI has all of the laws and policies in place that are best practice for use in the classroom. There's also, again, as mentioned on the last slide, we want to make sure that there's a real transparent understanding throughout the community in terms of, what data are being used, what the environment is like, and what kind of outputs will be happening in that AI environment. There's also a risk assessment that's required. The California Consumer Privacy Act, which has been on the books for a couple of years now, had some new amendments added this year that just went into effect January 1st that say with any automated decision-making tool, including AI, there needs to be notification about how data are processed. There needs to be a risk assessment documentation of how the tool is assessing risks and governing the data that it has to ensure the safety of any inputs. And all of this is covered under the data privacy tab on that website that Kat displayed earlier in the presentation. And it's really helpful for LEAs, their administrators, and also their CTOs to have a table that kind of guides them on the things that they need to be looking for with regard to each of the laws that govern student privacy in schools. And this is an evolving area, so this guidance will be updated as new laws come online.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate that. And I do want to say this guiding questions portion of the guidance in the data privacy section is quite robust. So there are to the topics and subtopics that Elizabeth brought up. Those guiding questions can really help our local education agencies as they are looking for ensuring that data privacy is not just a consideration, but is a foundation of AI implementation. So finally, the final category within our guidance is the appendix. The appendix includes a glossary to ensure that as you are going through the guidance, if there are terms of which you are unfamiliar or you would like to know how those are defined, you can definitely go there. You'll also find acknowledgements where all of our incredible working group members are listed, as well as references. So definitely a place to go if you're wondering about those subtopics. I want to let you know that the guidance is here, and that is exciting. And we want to thank our AI working group for developing this. We want to also let you know that a model policy is coming soon. That will be the next step in this process, according to Senate Bill 1288. And that will be coming out by July of 2026. We want to thank you for your interest in safe, effective use of AI in public schools. We appreciate you and all that you do. Again, in order to locate the guidance, you can go to the search bar on the CDE homepage and type in artificial intelligence, and that will be one way that you can access this guidance. We want to thank you for joining us today and have a wonderful, wonderful day.